Hello, 4Ps family, and welcome to today's episode of the 4Ps podcast. I am your host, Trunnis Goggins, and I'm here, enjoying, hopefully you are enjoying too, the new YouTube channel that we have going on as far as the video aspect of it. We have great guests on the show, and you may be wondering, let me put it this way. You may not be wondering. I try to wear at least professional or at least semi-casual business casual wear when I do these episodes. However, today I'm wearing a Toronto Argos, because if you can see it all, Toronto Argos sweatshirt. Now, I will say, if you listen to one episode of this program, you know that I love sports. You know that I love football. I love hockey. And I absolutely love boxing as well. But now with this today, I'm wearing this. Now, the Toronto Argonauts are a CFL football team. That's the Canadian Football League. They are right now the 2024 champions of the CFL. They won the Grey Cup, and that is their version of the Super Bowl up in Canada. I will say the sport is just phenomenal. I love it. Now, we are not having an episode where we have a CFL guest. I know that Khalil Carter, Craig Ellis, they're also played for the Toronto Argos at one point, but they are not on the program today. But I want to tell you why I'm wearing this shirt. And the reason why I'm wearing this shirt, or hoodie, if you want to call it that, it is because the CFL was actually, and still is, my release from everyday, stresses, all those other things that go on in my life. That is what I love. I love the CFL. Now, back in 2015, obviously, I lost my daughter, and it was a very sad time. It was in June of 2015, and that was also the season. Usually the CFL season starts in June. Now, you occasionally, I know that during this time, they had a long-term agreement with ESPN to play CFL games in the United States. Now they're with CBS Sports. So, if you have Paramount Plus or something like that, you can watch the games. You can watch most of them, but you also can watch it on an app. It's called CFL Plus. And so what I used to do is at the end of the day, this was back in the summer of 15, and I still do it to this day. I would literally go outside, and I would watch CFL football games on my tablet. And I would watch them if it was a doubleheader, if it was a 7:00 game, the first game is at 7:00. That's the East Coast game. So it could be Toronto or Hamilton or Ottawa or something like that. I would watch those games, and then I would watch the West Coast game. That would usually be about 9:30, even sometimes 10:00. And I would watch that game, and I would stay out all night back when I lived in Indiana. And I would have that tablet. I would sit in front of I had a little portable fireplace that, where you put wood in, and it was a real nice little thing. So I used to put fire in there and stuff, and, bring chips out or whatever. And, if you know me, sitting outside in the open air like that, especially when it's pitch dark and all I had was a tablet, would be weird because, I'm not afraid of people, but I'm super afraid of bats. I don't like them at all. And I would sit outside, and bats would just fly right by me. It wouldn't bother me because that was my outlet. That was my peace. That was an opportunity for me to get away from all of the stresses that were going on in my life at the time. It was an outlet, so to speak. I also have other outlets. I don't just sit down and watch CFL football. CFL only goes for 5 months out of the year. But what I do is, I work out, I play hockey, I do bike rides, long bike rides and things like that. My thing of fun is kind of weird. A lot of people are like, do you hang out at bars? No, I don't hang out at bars. And I try to, stay around the house. And I think I enjoy being around my children and my family more than anything else. So that's usually what I do. But you have to have an outlet. Also, I read. And the reason why I bring this story up is because I am going to now talk about our guest. Our guest today is a guy by the name of Stephen Champagne. And Stephen Champagne, he's a Marine, so it's kind of weird. So when I say this, and I'm speaking as a Navy veteran right now, I have never, ever seen, I've seen disciplined, strong, hard knocks Marines that are going out there and doing what they're supposed to do. Very rare do I see creative Marines. Are they out there? Yes, they are, but I have never met one. This guy is an extremely creative individual. He wrote a book called Beyond the Darkness, and it is a sci-fi book. Now, the type of books I read are presidential histories and things like that, and I can go deep into that. But I rarely read a sci-fi book. And when he approached me about this sci-fi book and I started reading it, I was like, wow, this is a very good book. And the funny thing about this book is there's certain sci-fis that you think, could that happen? This sci-fi could actually really kind of happen. And this book was so good that you are waiting for, and if you hear in the interview that I have with him, you will know that I am trying to get a part 2, because this story is not finished yet at all. So when we come back, we are going to be talking to Stephen Champagne. And before I go back to Stephen Champagne, I do want to say one thing. Canada and United States, we're kind of going at it a little bit right now. Remember, we are brothers. We are brothers and sisters in arms. We are brothers and sisters in everything. We are family. And, you are not our 51st state and never will be. And also, can you please stop booing our national anthem? I think that we need to turn this down a little bit. Yes, I know how it got started. But like I said, you guys are a strong, independent country, and we love you to death. But that was my last thing I had to say about Canada. And I will also say this. I'm going to say this from the bottom of my heart. CFL football is more exciting to watch than NFL football. I might lose viewers for saying that. I might gain some viewers for saying that. But I will tell you, you need to watch that sport. It is fun. But we are not talking about that anymore. We are talking about Stephen Champagne. And when we come back, we are going to have Stephen Champagne, and we're going to talk about Beyond the Darkness right after this.
The battle doesn't always end when the service does. For many veterans, the transition to civilian life is a journey of resilience, struggle, and hope. In Stories of Veterans, from military to civilian life, real men and women share their personal journeys, overcoming challenges, finding purpose, and creating new beginnings. Honor their stories, understand their journey. Stories of Veterans from military to civilian life, available now at Barnes & Noble, on Amazon, and anywhere you buy books.
Welcome back to the 4-Piece Podcast. As I was saying before we started this segment and recorded this segment, you've got to be able to take a break. You have to escape reality sometimes. I mean, I tell you about all these purpose, planning, passion, and persistence, all that stuff, keep on moving. But, even in my book, the last thing I talk about is peace. And I share a story about how I ended up getting that peace. One of the ways that I get it is through reading books that kind of take me away from real life and brings me into a new world and a new dimension. And we have someone today, Stephen Champagne. Where are you from, Stephen?
Houston, Texas.
Houston, Texas. Now, I know that the playoffs are going on. You guys got robbed a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
All right. I will say this right now, and I probably lost every Kansas City Chiefs fan I could lose, but that was the worst called game I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, and I'm the worst fan because I gave up.
I think the Houston Texans are great. I love C.J. Stroud. I love the fact that you have the Texans. I will say there's two things that happened in Houston this year that really kind of made me be a little bit of a Houston fan. One was when Houston went to Tennessee at the end of the year in the regular season, because Tennessee can't go to the playoffs right now, right? And the Tennessee Titans were wearing Houston Oiler uniforms. I was like, wow, you did not have to do that.
Yeah. It's hard to take the Texan out of people.
No, it is. It's very hard. And even me as a New Yorker, I was feeling bad. But we're not here to talk about football. We are definitely here to talk about something that you have done. It has just been released just a little while ago. The book is called Beyond the Darkness. Now, I just told everybody you need to take a rest and go out of reality. I just talked about darkness, you know?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit. First of all, you know, what made you, I mean, what made you write the book? And tell us a little bit about yourself first.
Well, I've always been creative, definitely writing, drawing from a very young age. And, writing a novel was something that I had always aspired to do, but it was one of those complex tasks of trying to figure out how to weave everything together into some kind of cohesive structure that I think really baffled me for a while. And I had written short stories here and there, and um, I finally in my 20s had sat down and said, you know what, I'm going to figure this out. And I started writing, and I wrote the entire novel by hand. Um, and it took me about a year to figure that process out. And then I sat on it for a while. So, um, but yeah, it was pretty interesting. The concept Beyond the Darkness came from a lot of things that I've been through in my life, and just that darkness being the unknown more than negativity, and how we grow and learn and change through you know, going into that unknown parts of ourselves. So
So Beyond Darkness is a almost like you are writing this. Obviously, it's a fiction, but you're also writing this. You are using your past experiences and kind of fictionalizing it. Is that what I'm getting?
yeah, I think more in the characters. The characters are definitely, I would say, the main point of the book. It is a sci-fi book with sci-fi elements, but it's not the main focus. It's more about the characters. It's more about the people, their lives, what they go through, and I believe that each character is a facet of myself in some way.
So you're saying this is a sci-fi book. Is it space sci-fi? Is it technology sci-fi? Is it big what is that Big Brother sci-fi? What type of sci-fi is this?
Um, I think that when you generalize it, it's more of a superhero than a science fiction. Um, the main character is a female, and she she goes through a process of transformation mentally, emotionally, and physically, and I believe that the story elements are tied to that, but there's not um, aliens and spaceships, and it's all based here on Earth in real time.
Excellent. And so, what I know that you've always wanted to write a novel. I know that you are, you tied in, you are talking so much about the characters and things like that. Your background, all right? So, I know a lot of people who write books, like me, I write books, but I don't have a creative background. So I don't write fiction. I don't. I mean, I think I might be able to, but I definitely couldn't write a sci-fi fiction because I don't think so far outside the box. I think people who write sci-fi, it does take a special person because what they are thinking, they think so far beyond. If you look at, I'm at the age now where a lot of stuff that I watch, even Dick Tracy. I'm sitting here right now with a watch right
Yeah.
now that back when I was a kid, it was like, oh, wow, that would be cool if we had a watch that can do the stuff that those things. Now I have a watch that can do even more. But so writing sci-fi it does take a vivid imagination. It takes a great amount of creativity. What is your professional background to bring you to writing a book of this magnitude?
I would say absolutely nothing.
Excellent. Okay,
I
good.
I did not pursue any type of career in writing whatsoever. Um, I originally went to college for graphic design and then went to the military, to the Marine Corps, and I ended up teaching myself to draw through studying old masters and art history and learning how they did their techniques. And I put myself through 4 years of a Bachelor's of Fine Art degree and really studied how to build my own canvases, build my own brushes, make my own paint from pigments, and just, everything that I could in the art world. And throughout this whole process of doing that, I was always writing. Um, the visuals went with the written part of the story. So the way that I would create art back then was come up with a concept, and most artists carry a sketchbook everywhere, and personally, I never really have. I'm not the person that sketches all the time. What I would do is I would write little short stories, and then I would think about the visuals that would go with that, and then try to paint those or make those or something of that nature, or vice versa. Come with a picture and then try to put a story to it. And I didn't really have any idea of making anything out of it, like a novel or anything, until I was a little older. But when I was younger, I was really interested in comic books, and this novel was originally written as a graphic novel. Um, and I was going to illustrate it, and have that type of media from it. But towards the end of it, I decided that I was going to go back and kind of flesh it out more to turn it into a full novel. So one of the things that I'm actually looking into now is going the other direction and really releasing the graphic novel version as well. So.
I love that answer. I love the fact that you've been doing it all your life. You've been drawing all your life. You were in the Marine Corps. Now I'm going to ask you a question. Being a Navy sailor, all right, were you doing this while you were in the Corps?
No.
No. I bet you didn't have time to do anything.
No. No, it's interesting because art being as simple as it is with pencil and paper, writing is very similar. So it's something that's very easy to carry around with you and to do anywhere. But my focus was different and my time was different when I was in the military. And I think that was a different period in my life where I learned different skills. I learned more of I would say, analytical or logical side of my brain at that time. And the interesting thing is most people are one or the other. They kind of float, in the creative realm, or they float in that analytical side. And I didn't realize this until then, but I have the ability to do both and kind of transition back and forth, which is a pretty cool skill, because when I was in the Marines, I was an intelligence specialist, and so that was a very analytical job. And so for me, I think that really helped me learn how to organize things and build systems. And coming out of that, I ended up starting a health and wellness company and worked in the health and wellness industry for quite a while. And didn't paint, didn't draw, didn't do anything for that time. And then once I ended up getting out of that industry, I went into media, where I started marketing and photography. And I think that being in the office all the time in a corporate job in the health and wellness industry, it was a very non-creative, I would say, position in atmosphere, and I was craving that creativity somehow, and that's where I picked up a camera. And I kind of always looked down on photography because, the more photography that we get, it seems like the less value that art has.
Right.
And, I took all of the art training and skills and perspectives that I had and applied those to photography, and it really did well. And, I was really excited about that. And so at that point, I knew that I was like, okay, there's more to this than just, pushing the button. And I think that that's where an interesting thing happened in my life was when I got into photography, especially digital photography, because of where we're at with technology. The video naturally came along with that. And having been to college for computer animation and graphic design, which were originally what I, started, I already had a lot of skills with the video side of it and those platforms and programs. And so it was a very easy transition for me from going from pencil and paper and writing stories into video creation and photography and then marketing. Because marketing storytelling.
Right.
And so I think all of that combined has created this interesting world between technology and art and storytelling and creativity and learning how to use all of these tools we have, especially now with AI, of how do we mold it into something that is beautiful but also inspirational.
Absolutely.
And I think that the novel, returning back to that, the novel when I looked at it as I was older, I was like, this is kind of posterity, I mean, it was handwritten on paper, and then it is a novel, but it's also that graphic design or graphic art was the original intent, and I was like, man, how cool would that be if we picked up that project and maybe figured out how to make it into something visual. And I think that's where the idea started. So I pulled it off the shelf and got to looking at it, and I was like, man, this is something I really want to do and pursue. And so that's where I came in contact with Nicole, and it was all kind of downhill from there.
Good. It's great. So now I want the audience to know, I'm kind of changing gears just a little bit. I'm still talking about the book. What is your superhero's name?
It is Cynthia.
Okay.
But she also has a second name, which I can't go into too much detail, but her second name is Samantha. And there's a reason for that.
Okay.
There's kind of, I would say, two people in one body.
Excellent. So now with Cynthia Samantha, will there be, I know the book just came out, the virtual release and the virtual launch that you had back on the 25th of January, great thing. You will be able to see that on the podcast page. You'll also be able to see it on my Facebook site, the link to the launch itself. This book, before I even go any further, because I'm a marketer as well, so this book will be on Amazon. It is on Amazon. It will be available at Barnes and Nobles throughout the area. You will be able to see this book in so many different areas, so many different places. It'll be in comic book stores. You will be able to really get to know Cynthia, and you will be able to get to know Stephen here real soon. I do want to ask, is she going to be, so I'm going to tell you why I asked this, because, with the new way we watch TV, we binge watch things, right? And sometimes me being, I don't get to watch TV as much as I want to. I will catch a show and just like, okay, I have time now, I'm going to watch it. And then I realize that I'll never get to see the show again, and I've wasted a whole day. I don't want to say wasted, but I'm hoping for another tomorrow. When I read your book, okay, am I going to get another book after this?
Yes.
Very good. That's what I wanted to hear because, I have watched many a show, read many a book where they left me hanging and I didn't get another one. So I do appreciate you giving me that. So now when I read this book, I can actually read it quickly, and then I will be able to go on and knowing that there's going to be another treat, and I'll be able to have Cynthia/Samantha back for some more stuff. Stephen Champagne, thank you very much for being on the podcast. Again, the book is, do you have a copy of the book?
I do.
All right. I want to show you the graphic. Lift it up just a little bit so we can see it. Oh, yeah. Look at this. I mean, it is a beautiful book. Great design. Who came up with the design of the book?
So the original concept came from me, and then Nicole reworked it, into that. And I have a very good friend of mine who's a graphic artist who took Nicole's design and turned it into what we have on the cover.
It is an awesome cover. It is a great cover. And that cover leaves so much because, you have the green coming, and you did not tell our audience what she's going to save the world from or save somebody from. And when I see that green, I think of some stuff. But you already told me there's no aliens. So that's good.
I would say not in the context of what you would expect in a sci-fi novel.
Roger that. Thank you so much. And I just said roger that to a Marine, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. There you go. That is something I say so much and so often. Stephen, thank you very much for being, again, the book is called Beyond the Darkness. Please go out there and get it. And we'll be right back right after this.
There is no loss greater, no pain deeper than that of losing a child. In stories of children lost, from the ones who love them most, parents share their journeys through heartbreak, healing, and remembrance. These are not just stories of loss, but of love that never fades, memories that never die, and strength that carries us forward. For those who grieve, for those who remember, for those who seek understanding, this book is for you. Now available at Barnes & Noble, on Amazon, and anywhere you buy books. Find comfort in shared stories.
The book Beyond the Darkness. You must get it. You must read it. And I really think that this book is part of a very big series. It's going to be a great book. You saw me try to pry a little bit to try to see if I was going to get a little bit of a sequel going or the next book. Obviously, he is still working on that. He's just trying to he's one step at a time. He's typical Marine. Let's just go ahead and get this done methodically and get this done the right way first time. And that's fine with me. But I will say the book is titled Beyond the Darkness. You want to get it as soon as you can. It is on Amazon. It's at Barnes and Noble. He's going to be touring different. It's a different type of thing. This is something where you're gonna read. You're not reading this to become this great person, but you're reading this to get an escape. Okay, and I'm going to tell you. You need escapes in life. You need healthy escapes, and this is a healthy escape. Some people talk about, some of their escapes are very dangerous, and we all know what those are. But this is a healthy escape. It is Stephen Champagne. It is Beyond Darkness, and please get the book as soon as possible. Last week I told you that this week we were going to have Sam Humphries on the show. Sam is going to be on the show next week. Very sorry about that. I always talk way ahead of where I should be sometimes. But yes, Sam Humphrey will be on the show next week. His interview, our conversation is riveting. This is a young man. Seriously, you talk about somebody who is willing to go out there and you just do what you have to do to be successful. This is a story you want to see. This is a person you want to talk to. I love this new format. I hope you do too. It makes me, before when I was just doing this show in a way where, you never saw me, I literally got to not have to wear and dress. I could dress any way I wanted to, and that was good to go. And so could my guests. And now we have to literally dress up to be around you. And I hope you absolutely love it. Hope you love the new format, and I am starting to enjoy it myself. I will be talking to you next week with Sam Humphrey. Talk to you then. Bye-bye.